Hi, I'm Coach Joon from Country Spirit CrossFit, and today I wanted to talk to you about some tips that I personally think is helpful when we cycle the Olympic lifts. This applies for both the snatch and clean and jerk. There might be subtle differences between the two. For the most part, the general mechanics stay the same. What I see most people do incorrectly when they cycle barbell snatches. When you're doing the snatch, very common thing that I see people do, they'll hit their power snatch and then immediately just drop the bar, hold over, and then just pull for their next snatch. Okay? So they're kind of off balance, way too forward, just generally fairly inefficient and kind of unsafe too, just because you're pulling from just a crunched over stance, you're pulling with all back. In terms of fixing that, the first thing I wanted to address was what you guys should think about doing with the hips once you've reached that extension point on the snatch. Once I've hit extension, instead of immediately kind of pulling the bar around and dropping forward, what I want to think about doing is kind of bending at the elbows, pushing my hips back, and then hitting the bar on the ground so that I'm kind of back in my starting position before I start the next rep. Okay, so the end goal is always to try and end up where you started. In addition to the elbows bending after the extension, one of the things I wanted to talk about is how we kind of transition from that elbow bend to bringing the bar back to our hips. Okay, so basically what's going to happen, once I've hit extension, what I'm going to do is just bend my elbows, kind of come up on my toes, meet the bar with my hips, and then come back down. Basically what's happening is once I've bent my elbows, essentially reverse strict pressing that barbell from a wide grip, what I'm going to do is try and reduce the distance between the barbell and my hips so that when I transition and bringing it around, there's not too much of a gap where the bar is kind of crashing on my body. Okay, so once I reverse strict press, first thing I'm going to do is actually bend my legs and bring the bar a little bit further down, maybe like an inch or two, okay? But trust me, this makes a huge difference. So it's like I'm dipping from a half strict press position, and then while I kind of rotate my elbows around, in that split second where the bar is weightless, I'm actually gonna come up on my toes and try and meet the bar at my hips, okay? So you'll notice, if you freeze frame this video or just any, top CrossFitter who you see cycling the barbell well, like Rich Froning, Matt Frazier, what you'll see if you freeze frame this moment when they're kind of meeting the bar back down, it's almost going to look identical to their initial extension point. So what I always like to tell athletes is that if someone were to freeze frame you doing this lift while cycling, it should be very hard for them to tell whether you're going up or down with the lift, okay?